So I've always said it's important to get different viewpoints, especially from different people when it comes to regarding Brexit. And here we have, again, I'll leave a link to it down below, but you now have Nigel Farage pushing a conspiracy theory. And this is actually quite dangerous. I agree with the person that wrote this. So, they begin with, as I asked in a previous article, is there any depth to which the British supporters of Brexit will not sink? In order to secure the United Kingdom's withdrawal from the European Union, fake news and fake claims have become the default setting for the Leave lobby in the UK, which is prepared to risk anything and everything in order to secure the country's retreat into xenophobic isolationism, including destroying 2 decades of relative peace in Britain's closest territory on the island of Ireland. And this is from this is a quote taken from him directly from the Times newspaper. So Nigel Farage has claimed that Michael Barnier, the EU's chief negotiator, would like the IRA to become active again. The former UKIP leader also accuses the former French foreign minister for almost encouraging Republican terrorism. This knowing falsehood is not a new strategy by the Brexiteers. It is a long-standing and purposefully created conspiracy theory, one which was lent a degree of respectability by our own press when the Irish Times published an opinion piece from 2 anti-EU academics in Britain who had previously suggested that a military response to any EU recruited opposition to a Brexit-imposed hard border around the UK occupied 6 counties. So behind the insurgents of Michael Barnier and Leo Van Keur, we find political threats from die-hard Republican grouplets effectively recruiting as an armed wing of the European Union. In London, we find the British political class has been willing to send its armies on bloody adventures in Iraq and Afghanistan, but is unwilling to face down even the slightest hint of violence closer to home. Yeah, so you can see this is getting quite serious. That and this isn't Irish people doing this. These are like pro-Brexit British people that are doing this. So, as far as one can see, the only politicians in Europe predicating or threatening violence if the UK fails to leave the EU under the extortionate terms the UK demands are the Brexit extremists in the faction-ridden Conservative Party, the far-right Democratic Unionist Party, and the ultra-nationalist United Kingdom Independence Party. And they are quite open about it, with the propagandist Express newspaper in Britain eager to support their campaign of intimidation. And these are just some quotes from the Express. Sir Gerald Holworth, the Tory MP for Aldershot since 1997, has said that any plans to hold back the will of the majority by preventing the triggering of the Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty could be met by angry opposition on British streets. There will be a real anger across the country if unelected peers seek to do this. The risk is a very angry protest that could lead to violence. Previously, Stephen Revan, a UKIP borough councillor in Boston, the town which recorded the UK's biggest Brexit vote, warned that if Leave was blocked, eventually we are going to have a civil riot. That's my honest opinion. You've got 17 million people who voted Brexit who are not going to be very happy at all if the decision gets overturned. If Brexit doesn't go ahead, you are going to get a civil uproar. It's not a word I use lightly, but there is going to be a revolution. There will be a revolution. So yeah, these people are the ones who are encouraging this civil disobedience and violence stuff going on, and this is why councils are preparing for this, because they know that a no-deal scenario. Remember, we live in a country where riots and police were called because KFC ran out of chicken. Imagine what potential violence there could be when you can't get the food that you might be used to from the EU, when there might be food shortages and things like that that are potentially could happen. So it's not entirely, in the realms of fantasy. So anyway, he continues, increasingly the United Kingdom looks like a swaggering street bully looming over its neighbour, Ireland, and commenting, nice peace process there, mate, pity if it got broken. And this is what's worrying about this whole thing, because the peace process didn't, the IRA didn't magically go away when the peace process was signed. They've still been around, and yes, there have been still troubles. However, not to the scale at which we've seen during, again, the whole period, literally known as the Troubles. There have been no IRA bomb or terrorist threats, and yet now the whole reason that the entire process could just suddenly come shattering down, and the fact that Brexiteers don't give a damn about it, they haven't proposed any real concrete ideas or solutions about it, and there's a very real possibility you could actually once see again a resurge in Republican violence and the IRA. That's worrying. But it's fine, because apparently we'll be a sovereign country.